sponsored by Squarespace.
You are not prepared. You are not prepared.
You are not prepared.
Soon again, we will not be prepared. Illidan Stormage is coming back. We don't know if it's in Midnight or in The Last Titan, but given his history with the Sunwell, I mean, he gave a vial of the Well of Eternity's water to the founder of the Blood Elves, Midnight would actually make a lot of sense. But either way, he is coming back, and when he does, everything will change. Here's what we know. Legion ended the year 32. The war within started the year 42. That is 10 years that Illidan has been gone. 10 years spent out in the cosmos with the Titans, jailing Sargeras, literally guarding the most dangerous being in existence. But here's the problem. We just learned the Titans aren't really saviors. They kind of look like Azeroth's jailers. They've been manipulating and imprisoning our world since the beginning. So here's the question. When Illidan crashes back to Azeroth, whose side will he be on? I mean, think about it. He spent a decade with the Titans. He stood guard over Sargeras with them, traveled the cosmos at their side. Does he know what they've done to Azeroth? Does he care? Will he defend them when we face the Titans in the Last Titan expansion? Or will he see them for what they are and turn his demon hunters against them? Here's why this actually matters to the plot. Illidan is the only mortal who has taken down a Titan-level threat. If he sides with the Titans, we're kinda screwed. If he sides with us, he might actually stand a chance. But to understand which way Illidan will break, we need to understand who the hell Illidan actually is. Not the redemption arc version from Legion that very much glossed over a lot of history. No, I mean the real Illidan, the one who made deals with demons, the one who committed atrocities, became a dictator, the hunter who told us we weren't prepared. Was he a hero? Was he a villain? Was he both? And when he returns, will that even matter? So today, this is the story of Illidan. Let's dive in. I've also got a bit of a challenge for you. Give me 30 minutes and with today's sponsor, you'll finally have the website that you've been meaning to build. So Squarespace has an easy-to-use site builder and award-winning templates, but they have developed so much as a platform lately. Design Intelligence is their mix of tools that help you access their 20 years of design experience easily. It starts with Blueprint AI, and that starts with a few questions. Once you answer those, you'll use their interactive design system to build your own template, just the way that you like it, but with them keeping you right, with designer-picked fonts and color palettes, all matched to your aesthetic, and then from there, you can iterate on your copy and your content. It's all seamlessly integrated, and if you've just been overwhelmed in the past, or you just want to start quickly with all of your bases covered, this set of features is literally made for you. And their core platform is always growing as well. They've got native video support, so you can have a gorgeous player, you can have video gallery layouts that are all interoperable with their e-commerce tools. It's real impressive, and when I needed sites, Squarespace was my first port of call because they make it easy. So to get started today, go to squarespace.com/BellularGaming, check out Design Intelligence, and when you're ready to send your site live, use code BellularGaming for 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain. Recently, we talked about the Highborn Elves, how they basically caused most of Azeroth's big problems. They alerted the Legion to our planet's location way back in the day, they sundered our world, they seeded elf wells across the planet that keep becoming world-ending threats. A prime example being the Sunwell, the place that we are about to try and save from some sort of world-ending threat with Xal'atath. And by now we've seen enough hints to suggest we may lose that battle. So, elves being a liability. It's Ashara's story, it's the Blood Elves story, we saw it again in Suramar, but it's also core to Illidan's story. You see, Illidan wasn't highborn by birth. Oh, he was a little different. He was marked with destiny. The Prime Naru Zero told us he was central to the Child of Light and Shadow, essentially something not dissimilar to a Jedi Chosen One who would bring balance to the Force. Of course, the point was that she got that wrong. He rejected it. And we'll get into that later. But Illidan's birth changed the course of history. He trained under Cenarius alongside his brother Malfurion, but Cenarius refused to let Illidan become the Kaldorai's top druid. Illidan was furious at this, so he left Cenarius. He traveled to the city of Zinishari, and there he turned his talents to the arcane. Magic blasted his mind, and he became obsessed with the source of that magic. That source being the Well of Eternity. By this time, the Highborn Elves had been abusing the well's energies to the point where it glowed in the cosmos and it attracted the Legion. Now, when the Legion invasion finally began, Malfurion convinced Illidan to join the resistance. But Illidan was actually horrified by his brother's plan. His brother wanted to blow up the Well of Eternity so that Sargeras couldn't use it. Illidan thought this was completely insane. He liked what the well gave them. He liked the magic. So he came up with his own plan: to return to Queen Ashara, pretending to still be loyal to her, and to then find the one thing that can close the Legion's portal to Azeroth, that thing being the Demon Soul. And that is when Illidan first met Sargeras. Let's pause here. At this moment, we have a young Illidan who is thirsty for power, whether that be nature or arcane. He is obsessed with the Well of Eternity, again seeing it as an ultimate source of power. And by this point, he was actually starting to admire the Legion. I mean, they were pretty powerful guys and he did like power. Sargeras then saw something in Illidan, something that he could twist. So Sargeras gave Illidan a gift. Sargeras burnt out his eyes and gave him the ability to see magic. And in that very moment, Illidan saw the Legion. He saw them spreading throughout the universe in their limitless numbers, and he realized that Azeroth was doomed. So he acted. Illidan found the Demon Soul, and alongside Malfurion, he closed the Legion's portal. But this caused a magical backlash that ruptured the land, that sundered it into the map that we know today. This sundering was as much Malfurion's fault as it was Illidan's. But you see, Illidan couldn't kick his addiction. As the well destabilized, he took 7 vials of its water. One of those vials would become the Sunwell, of course, leading to the threat we face in Midnight. Several others were poured into Mount Hyjal, creating a second Well of Eternity beneath the world tree Nordrassil. But the last well didn't work out, and what Illidan was doing was extremely illegal. Remember, they had basically realized that their problem was all of this magic bullshit. They outlawed it, yet here was Illidan still going around playing fast and loose with the rules. So, he was put in prison for seeding another Well of Eternity. And that is how he spent 10,000 years alone in the dark. Fast forward 10,000 years and we reach the events of Warcraft 3, the second Legion invasion. And by now the invading demons were marching toward Mount Hyjal. Tyrande was working with the druids from their barrows, trying to fight back. And in the depths of Winterspring, she found an ancient door. And that door triggered a memory, one of Illidan's prison. Illidan would be the perfect weapon against the Legion, she thought, but there was a problem. His Night Elf Wardens very much disagreed, and they were led by Maiev Shadowsong. Now, Tyrande brutally cut her way to Illidan. She even killed a Keeper of the Grove, and this began an arc of questioning. Illidan was powerful, but was freeing him worth the risk? Either way, she found him, but she didn't free him. He destroyed his own bars, as if to say the only thing keeping him chained was himself. The Legion had sensed Illidan's return, though, and they knew the hunger that was inside him, so they set a trap. They sent the Scourge slave Arthas to taunt Illidan. Arthas thought Illidan was weak, but also mentioned a source of power that was close by. This source was called the Skull of Gul'dan. So, the bait set, Arthas left. Illidan, of course, found the skull. And what do you do when you find a font of demonic power? Well, maybe my answer, but also Illidan's, would be to consume it, and that put him on a path to Legion servitude once more. Arthas and Illidan's duel was the finale of Warcraft 3. But do you know why they were fighting? Well, it's actually quite simple. Kil'jaeden, one of the lieutenants of the Legion, threatened to destroy Illidan unless he killed the Lich King. So Illidan decided, yep, I need to kill the Lich King. First, Illidan tried a ritual. He literally wanted to shake Icecrown down around the Lich King's head. This did not work, and when Malfurion confronted him, Illidan admitted he was working for a new master, the Legion. Even if it was for survival, to stop a mutual enemy, Illidan was working for the bad guys. And with that, Illidan's mission had failed. Illidan then used memories from Gul'dan's skull. He decided Outland would be a great place to hide out from the Legion, so he went there alongside Kel'Thas and Lady Vashj. He killed Magtheridon, installed himself as the Lord of Outland, but of course the Legion could find him there, and that is when Kil'jaeden gave Illidan one last chance, and that basically was to go and take out the Lich King. You see, as time went on, the Lich King became less and less a tool of the Legion and more of a liability, essentially because, well, he started getting uppity and having ideas of his own, ones that he would try to further by using Arthas. So, to clean all this up, Illidan marched on Icecrown. He had his duel, and he lost. With that, Arthas then became the Lich King. And this is when Illidan went off the deep end. Far more so than you probably know. You see, as Lord of Outland, he knew the Legion was coming, so he became a brutal dictator. He chained Magtheridon below Hellfire Citadel. He forced orcs to drink his blood, creating his own fell horde. He commanded the Naga to strangle Outland's last water sources in Zangarmarsh. He used water rations to control the natives. He even destroyed the spirit of Akama, a broken Draenei who had in fact helped him rise to power. He literally split Akama's soul in half. And when we discovered all of this, we basically said, Illidan has gone completely bonkers. He's gone mad, he's turned into a dictator, he's talking to a skull, he is a villain. So evil, in fact, that we stormed Black Temple and we took him out. Then something happened, and that thing is Illidan finding redemption. If you, by now, are thinking that Illidan really does sound like a complete pure villain, well, you're completely right. But something about that legacy doesn't sit well. You see, in the Legion expansion, Illidan came back, but with a new backstory, with new things going on. You see, once, when Illidan said, "You are not prepared," it meant we weren't prepared to face him, because he was way more powerful than us. But now it meant something different. It meant we weren't prepared for the Legion. You see, in reality, Illidan had been in fact working toward the Legion's end this whole time. What looked like an apocalyptic last stand in Outland was actually a desperate gamble for time. Illidan still did all of that bad stuff that I just covered, but he also did something else in secret, and that was training an order of demon hunters. Now, these demon hunters had been hopping around the cosmos fighting the Legion. They were in fact so effective that they blew up the planet Nathraza. So he was fighting hard, so hard in fact that the Legion really did just decide to go and deal with him. You see, instead of attacking Illidan directly, the Legion got one of their commanders involved, that being Doom Lord Kazak, who reopened the Dark Portal and unleashed us on Outland. And we, as it turned out, were more effective than anyone imagined. We stormed Black Temple before Illidan's plan was complete, and in those very last moments, his demon hunters returned with what they had been hunting for, the Sargerite Keystone. This was the key that would open a portal to the planet Argus. And at the very end of that, he joins the Titans at the seat of the Pantheon, and he becomes Sargeras' jailer. And then we just see him disappear to somewhere off in the verse. Okay, as you've seen, Illidan has had a bit of a patchy history. He's worked with villains, he's committed atrocities, but in the name of saving Azeroth. And when he comes back, he's still going to be that same guy. And certainly Legion changed quite a lot of things, but it's also fair to say that many people consider the Burning Crusade expansion to quite bungle his lore and just not do anything interesting with them. I think most would say it's ended up working for the best. Now, what matters to us is that when Illidan comes back, he'll be the same guy, but he will have learned new things. Think about who he's hanging out with. And he will have seen how things actually work. But even with that, his motivations will be the same. His methods will be just as brutal. And there are three big considerations. First, the Child of Light and Shadow, a prophecy that the Prime Naruzira thought was about Illidan. Then Illidan rejected it. And now it seems there's another character stepping perfectly into that role, Arator, a character who we'll spend serious time with in Midnight. Second, Illidan is right there with the Titans, and right now the story is telling us that the Titans are bad news, at least for us and our goals. So either Illidan will reappear crashing through the sky after escaping from them, or maybe he'll return with them, and maybe he won't understand why that would make us all very nervous. Then third, there's Sargeras. Now he's supposed to be imprisoned with Illidan as his jailer, but The return of Sargeras is a question as big as Illidan himself, but the good news is we recently tried to answer it, so go and watch this video which deep dives into when the Sword of Sargeras will crash back into relevance.